I was very interested in reading about confidence in your book because I think when I give talks or people ask me questions, a lot of times it does revolve around confidence, especially for women. And I love that you've had a solid sense of yourself, although it's been tested at times in your life too. But I wanted to read a couple of paragraphs because I really like them. When you got fired from your job as a receptionist at a law firm, right? And you write, I didn't care that he called me stupid. Some lawyer had called and said, when can we fire the blonde bimbo that's the receptionist, right? And it
Hmm.
was you he was asking,
Yes.
right? So you said, I didn't care that he called me stupid. I knew I wasn't stupid. I've been called stupid many times in my life. I've been called dumb, obnoxious, trashy, raunchy, crass, a fake, and various other things throughout my career. I've been all of those things at certain moments, but not one of those words encapsulate who I am. None of the things other people have called me has ever really mattered. What other people say about you only matters if you believe what they are saying is true. Even in my early 20s, when I was broke, bouncing from one job to another, borrowing money from anyone I could, I knew I had value. I knew that if I kept chugging away, I would find the people who would recognize that value. I wasn't going to let some guy who worked in an office building, would be for the rest of his life, make me feel bad about not being able to transfer a phone call just because he had a law degree. The inability to transfer a phone call only further cemented my suspicion that I wouldn't be good at anything that required me to sit inside an office. I took getting yelled at that day as a sign that I was headed in the right direction, that I needed to use my voice, and that temporary office work was one more thing I tried and could now cross off my list. This day lives in my memory because if this had happened on a different day, a week earlier or a week later, I would have had a different reaction. I would have felt shame at being called stupid, inadequate for not being able to transfer a phone call. And I would have allowed a stranger to make me feel terrible about myself. If this had happened on a different day, I would have walked out of that law office in tears. None of that happened because he caught me on a day where I felt good about myself, hopeful about the future, even though my life was anything but stable in that moment. I was my true self that day, and I was grounded in that idea that I would set out to do what I came to California to do, to make a living at being me. In the grand scheme of things, this man didn't matter at all. He serves as a reminder to me on the days when I do not feel strong, confident, or hopeful to tap into the version of me who does, to know that every feeling passes, that no moment in time is permanent, and the truest version of who we are, sorry, and that the truest version of who we all are is confident, hopeful, and resilient. I just love that because, I think you concede that not every day you feel that way, but there is that part of you you can always call on when you're not.
Yeah, it's like leaning on someone else's shoulder, as women, what we have to do and extend the kindness we have to extend to each other in the name of sisterhood. It's like if you don't have that in at your disposal in that moment, lean on your own sisterhood. Like you have yourself to lean on. And that's also the strongest shoulder in your life. So really we have to have, the ability to know how valuable we all are, every single one of us. And it's a good reminder.
Yeah, I just thought it was a great pep talk to yourself and
Yeah.
ergo a great pep talk to the reader. And you talk about sisterhood. Jane Fonda, you also write about, you all were friends, and she had you come over to her house for dinner because she was pissed at kind of the energy you were emitting at a John Lewis fundraiser. And I thought that was, as you talk about that being a true sign of sisterhood, that she would take the time and effort to kind of tell you that and be so brutally honest that you were really grateful. And it kind of shook you a little bit, didn't it?
Absolutely. And what she said to me and summoned me over to her house and kind of told me that my behavior was bad and that I had acted badly and offended people. It was pretty mortifying to hear. Not pretty mortifying, it was mortifying. I was horrified at myself. And I had just been to therapy for enough time to understand that being defensive is just an admittance of being wrong. Like you can't be defensive when someone's telling you something about yourself. And if it's not true, then you wouldn't be defensive anyway because it doesn't matter. It's just simply not true. So it was true what she said to me. And through even the mortification of hearing that and being so disappointed in myself and being so horrified that she was disappointed in me, the overarching theme of that moment, I remember thinking was like, wow, she's really being a great big sister to me. Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of sister I'm going to be to other women.
And I think people who can be really honest about their feelings, like I wasn't really honest about something that happened between you and me, and it was really not you, but it hurt my feelings. And I wish I had just said to you, Chelsea, it really hurt my feelings that you didn't defend me on your talk show.
What happened?
Well, I don't know if you remember this, but I had a syndicated talk show. It wasn't a very good fit for me because I'm kind of a news whore, as you know. And but you were nice enough to come on the talk show. And at one point, I was saying I was really excited that Jennifer Aniston was getting married. Because I really liked her. I was happy for her, and I think I must have said something like, "Are you going to the wedding?" Just like what you do on daytime talk shows, right? And then she came on your talk show and you mentioned it in a nice way. And she said, I thought didn't Katie Couric used to be a journalist? And I thought it was such a diss. And maybe she was trying to be funny or I don't know what, but I felt like you should have defended me and said, but she was really being nice and trying to be really supportive and loving towards you. But you didn't, and it hurt my feelings. So now I'm telling you.
Oh, oh,
Do you
well, I'm
remember
glad
that?
I did because I think you did say this to me before.
I
I
did.
remember, yes, I remember you being upset about it. And I remember being surprised. I don't know if you texted or emailed me, but yes, you definitely did. So, first of all, don't see, you did stand up for yourself and you don't even remember. Um,
Maybe
and no,
dementia is another one of my problems.
we're all going. Don't worry, we're all going. We're headed in that direction. But I'm glad you said it again, nevertheless. And yes, I don't think it didn't even cross my mind that she was dissing you in that moment. I think she was
Really?
deflecting. Yes, I didn't read it that way at all. No,
Maybe I'm just
no.
hypersensitive about stuff like that.
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't either way. It's not it's not like such a big dig. I don't
No,
think.
well,
You
kind of. I
know.
know for somebody who's spent her whole career trying to be taken seriously and being really
Well,
proud.
I think, but that's what I mean. I think everyone does take you seriously, Katie
Okay.
Couric. So from my lips to your ears, I think you can count on that.
Okay, thank you. I feel much better now. But
Yes.
I feel like even though I texted you, I feel like we had never really talked about it. So
Well, thank you for bringing it up, and my apologies. I'm sorry. Yes,
no,
I
no.
understand where you're coming from. I get
Anyway,
it.
okay, thank you. And next time you better fucking defend me, by the way.
Okay, I
Okay.
will. I
Oh,
will.
okay. All right. Somebody asked me to ask you. You're known for being fearless. What is the one thing that still scares you?
Oh, what scares me? Oh, God. The commitment to any sort of long term commitment, whether it be to a person or to a job or to living somewhere. Like, I want
You like
everything to
freedom.
just,
I think you value freedom above everything.
yeah, yeah.
Why do you think what is it about commitment or about being um, you know, uh tied down scares you so much? And I'm sure with therapy, did you talk about that? Is it your parents' marriage? I'm trying to figure that out.
I think I don't look at it as a fear of something. I want to be free. I want to be able to fly around the world. I love a sense of like when something's impromptu. I love spontaneity. Like I look at it as like, I just want to like fly. If anything that could prohibit me learning and growing and traveling is like, oh, and so, yes, I can see how it would be a fear, but I think through therapy, I learned that it's okay that I have these feelings. It's
Yeah,
okay that I don't desire a long term romantic commitment. It's okay instead of wondering what's wrong with me. It's like, I
what's
want a
right
lot of
with
lovers.
you? Yeah,
I want a lot of lovers. I want to have a lot of sex with lots of different guys. I want to have lovers in different parts of the world. That's okay for me to say. And that's true. That's how I feel.